Hey, Sean Cooper here. If you have social anxiety, if you have more severe shyness, or if you've had trouble all your life in forming close connections, friendships, relationships with people, then this video is going to be very, very important for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about something I call toxic shame. I'll explain what it is, how it's actually at the core of a lot of your problems, and some symptoms, so how you can tell if you really do have toxic shame and if it really is the issue that's at the core of your social anxiety or shyness. What is toxic shame? First, let me explain the difference between normal shame and toxic shame. I looked in the dictionary, and the definition for shame is a painful feeling caused by consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. So, regular shame is a feeling. Imagine a little boy who sees some money in his mom's purse and he decides to take the money, and then his mom catches him, she finds out about it, and that little boy feels shame. In that situation, shame is just a feeling. That little boy is going to feel the shame for a few minutes or maybe an hour or two, and hopefully because of the shame, he's not going to do the action again. Normal shame is about something that you did, but toxic shame, which is what I'm talking about in this video, is not shame about something that you did, it's shame about who you are as a person. People who have toxic shame feel like at their core you're a flawed or defective or inferior person. Toxic shame makes you feel like you're unworthy of love or belonging or connection. In my mind, toxic shame is maybe one of the most destructive emotions or things someone can have, because toxic shame isn't just a feeling that you get and then it passes. Toxic shame follows you around when you have it, like a dark cloud over your head. It can infect every area of your life. It can make you isolated from other people. It can rob you of feeling connected or having friends. It can lead you into a spiral downward of depression. It can even affect your physical health. I was reading a couple articles before I recorded this video, and scientists have found that emotions like chronic shame lead to mental stress. And that type of constant stress leads to all types of health issues, like cardiac issues later in life. It also suppresses your immune system, so it makes you get sick more often. Shame can also lead to being more likely to get addicted to things and other destructive behaviors. So toxic shame is a very bad thing. And now let me describe a few symptoms for how to know if you have toxic shame. Because to be honest, not everyone who has shyness or social anxiety has toxic shame. But I believe that toxic shame is at the core of a lot of people's social anxiety. So the first big symptom of toxic shame is hiding. Toxic shame makes you hide from people. I remember back in my first year of university, I was living in the dormitory, and I spent most of my time actually hiding from the other people on my floor in the dormitory. I'd turn off the lights so nobody would know I was inside the room, and even if people knocked on my door or even gave me a phone call, I would pretend like I wasn't in the room. I was hiding. I was avoiding other people. And toxic shame causes you to hide from people in other ways too. For example, it makes you hide your thoughts and feelings from people. Have you ever had a problem of not knowing what you should say when you're around people in social situations. Back when I had really bad social anxiety, I'd get that issue all the time. And later on, I figured out that the reason why is because of toxic shame. See, when you feel like you're deeply flawed, you don't want to share your true self because you think if you did, other people would reject it. Because you're flawed or defective, you have something wrong with you, right? So why would you want other people to see that? So, toxic shame causes you to hide your thoughts and feelings. You filter them. You censor yourself. You don't feel free to speak what you're thinking. Make no mistake, when you're around people, you are still thinking. It may feel like you're having a blank mind, but there are still observations you're having about the environment. There's thoughts you're having about what other people are saying. But because you have toxic shame, it causes you to censor those thoughts and observations. It makes you not feel free to express what you're feeling. Now, the third symptom of toxic shame is your attention. Toxic shame biases your attention. It makes you focus on certain things and certain thoughts. Back when I had really bad social anxiety, I remember I'd be walking down the street or doing whatever, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like getting hit by a truck, I'd remember some super embarrassing and super painful and humiliating situation from my past. And because I was remembering it, it caused me to relive all those feelings of embarrassment and humiliation and shame. And this would happen over and over again. Sometimes I'd replay these embarrassing memories in my head again and again and again. And what you need to understand is that the toxic shame is controlling your thoughts, because the toxic shame is making you think of past memories and thoughts that bring out more shame. So you need to recognize that your thoughts and what memories your brain chooses to focus on, it's often being dictated by these core emotions that have come into your body. The next symptom of toxic shame is physical insecurities. Back when I had really bad social anxiety, I had a lot of insecurities about my appearance, about how I looked. I thought I looked terrible most of the time. And one thing in particular, which I remember being very insecure about, was this little gap I had in my front teeth. I had this little gap, and I was so insecure about this gap in my teeth that I would be afraid to smile. I would sometimes even be afraid to talk in case people noticed the gap. Whenever I walked by a mirror, I would pay attention to see how my teeth looked. I get a lot of people emailing me to ask me if they're being too short or they're being overweight is what's causing their social anxiety. It's not true. There's a lot of short people who are confident. I know a lot of fat people who are confident. I know a lot of good-looking, skinny people who have very bad social anxiety. So it's not your physical appearance itself which is causing you to feel anxious or shy around people. It's the toxic shame which is making you focus in on any tiny little flaw you have, and it's making you really, really focus on that flaw. And even if you actually are ugly or fat, keep in mind that there's people out there who also have these defects or flaws who are able to be confident. So it's not the flaw itself, it's the toxic shame which is making you focus on the flaw, which is further making your confidence go lower and lower. And the next symptom of toxic shame is secrets. People who have toxic shame often have secrets in their life, from their past maybe, that makes you think, like, if anyone ever found out about this secret, you would instantly become like a social outcast. So what you need to understand is that you're not the only person who has personal secrets or shortcomings. In reality, it's impossible for everyone to fit into the social norm of what's acceptable. So what seems like a unique problem to you, whatever secret you have, is probably shared by many other people out there. And it's not as unique as you might think. The more personal something is, the more universal something is. So for example, I'm talking in this video about all these personal issues. There's hundreds and thousands of people who are going to watch this video and relate to what I'm saying. Even though these issues seem very personal, realize that there's a lot of other people who also share whatever deep, dark secret you might think you have. And really, it's the toxic shame is what creates this type of secrecy. So I hope that gave you a good overview of toxic shame, what it is, how to know if you have it, and a few other ideas relating to this whole concept. Shame is not a pretty topic. It's not something nice to talk about. But I feel like if you want to overcome your anxiety or severe shyness around people, if you want to learn how to form those close connections and really create a life where you feel more free, more light, in social situations you don't have trouble speaking your mind, then overcoming toxic shame, it should be one of your number one priorities. And I consider it really my privilege to be able to help people to go from a place of feeling defective, unworthy, ashamed of themselves, to a different place of feeling more secure. And that's my whole goal for you. I want you to feel like you are enough as you are. When you do get to that point of feeling, instead of flawed, you feel like whole. You feel like a whole person, like you are enough. You're going to find that talking to people becomes easy. Socializing becomes effortless. Making friends also is just a matter of remembering to keep in touch with people. And overall, life just becomes much, much better. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, head on over to shyness.socialanxiety.com to check out my other articles and free videos. And you should also know that in my product, the Shyness and Social Anxiety System, I have 2 or 3 sections specifically on how to eliminate toxic shame from your life. I hope this video by itself has even helped you. Sometimes just getting a new perspective on your issues and realizing why you feel the way you do can also make a huge impact. All right, so I'm Sean Cooper and I'll talk to you soon.